Modded.
Thing.
Right guys, welcome back for another episode. We're up to number 8. As usual, the deadline for submissions is the 13th of the month. And of course you email them to showmethemoddedthing@gmail.com. Okay guys, first up we have Brian E, and he's done a very simple mod. He's just taken himself a raptor strike, and I believe it's a Chronos. He's taken the buttstock off the raptor strike and stuck it on the Chronos, and it looks really cool. Short, compact, close quarters blaster. And he's turned the rest of the raptor strike into a bullpup, which, as you probably realise, it's something I'm going to do. Mine's going to be flywheel powered, but straightforward, simple, easy, and it's really well done. Can't fault it. And he's kept all the original colours, which is still pretty impressive as well. Very nice work, Brian. Next up, we've got Edward W, and Edward's just showing off here. He says this build was simply to get rid of some spare parts. Okay, fair enough. But he's done it really well. He's got a demolisher there with the end off a Fortnite blaster. I think it's the, yes, it's actually the rocket launcher still attached. Loved the little Asian, Chinese, Japanese lettering, whatever they are. And the paint scheme's really nice. Shows off the colour immensely well. And the dirt and the rust and so on. And he's also found an old mask he's 3D printed some horns for and stuck them on just as a companion piece. Looks really good. And the photos themselves also are a really good example of putting the blaster in a setting suitable for it, but that's not too busy so you don't lose the blaster. In this case, with all the greys and the dark pale greys in the background, he's created a really nice setup. It looks really good. Absolutely outstanding. Right, now also by Edward is a Nerf hyperfire, which is modded into a police weapon, I'm assuming. He didn't give me much backstory, but he's 3D printed the foregrip and cover ends off the front where he's cut and changed things. Used a piece of Sintra plastic to cover the Nerf logo on the back and then place lettering stickers on. And then the little lights are a cute little touch. Just a couple of LEDs that he's painted up and lit up with a watch battery, lighting up red and blue. So, you know, the police are shooting at you. Yeah. And they're even held on by a Lego Bionicle piece. Isn't Lego useful? Really nice work, mate. Really nice. Love the paint job and the weathering. And he says it started out as a Nerf hyperfire. Well, I have to say it probably finished up looking pretty much like a Nerf hyperfire too, but looking really good. I've had a few more submissions from Edward, and they'll be in future movies, and they look just as good. So, right, next up we have one from Vincent D, another regular contributor. This is made with a metal worker canted cage and flywheels, 132 motors, out of dart, short dart pusher, full rewire voltmeter being held in by magnets, red expanded battery cover door with matching trigger and mag release, butt stock is Milliang, added a rubber butt cover, comfort grips, added a red dot laser grip, holds slanted mags, flip sight, and glow-in-the-dark mags with adapter flared magwell. And he doesn't believe in commas, obviously. Very nicely done, very simple, straightforward, very modern looking. So it's just basically a strife with a lot of stuff added on, but it's added on really well, and it looks really good. I particularly like the butt stock. I love the muzzle, very interesting shape there. Probably that way so it can hold its laser sight. But yeah, nice work, Vincent, nice. Next up we got one from a new submitter, Roland D. He says this was a vigilante with a retaliator grip and end strike stock. And that's all he wanted to do at first. But with the folding stock, it just begged for a longer barrel, like a combat shotgun. So he decided to go for a real steel look and an inline clip system, as there was plenty of space due to the longer barrel. Now, he even has the barrel can be removed for maintenance, and it was made out of 2 PVC pipes cut down and end caps used to super glue and hold them together. He salvaged the front sight and off another barrel and epoxied that in. The retaliator stock has a spare dart holder functionality. Right, the internals consist of a worker metal kit, plunger tube, pusher, plunger head, catch, plastic dart gate, metal barrel. And he's added a 12K retaliator spring. He gets an initial velocity of 160, 170, and it shoots on a flat trajectory of about 20-25 metres, which is all you need basically. Very nice. It is a front loader, holds a maximum of 20 short darts, which is pretty good for a pump action shotgun. And it has the range of an elite or maybe more, but it's not a powerhouse. It's just a fun charging around pump action shotgun. He's deliberately left the stocks removable because he wants to be able to change it around and use that folding stock on other blasters. But it's really, really nice. And he does make the point of saying he is an adult and blaster never leaves his property. And rightly so. You'd get in a heap of trouble very quick if you carried this in public. Oh, and here's another photo. He said, you can judge the size of it next to this long shot. It's a pretty big thing, but I would still imagine it'd be quite handy and easy to use. Well, mate, looking forward to the next one. Next one up, just a single photo from Gregor. It's a couple of hammer shots, obviously, with orange modwork kits with metal trigger and upgraded springs. Also a So Sick With It 3D printed halo barrel attachment. Okay, great name for a company. Yeah, looks very, very nice. Quite like it. Match set, obviously goes on rampages with them. Really nice work. Some of these 3D parts are just very, very impressive these days. It's been a few years since they've been around and they're getting really, really nice finishes and nice looks. Okay, next one we have one from Doggy BG, a contributor from the German community. And this is his chronomag, which he's done some pretty heavy duty mods on. It starts with a slanted talon adapter and no 3D printed magwell for some reason. Okay. He said he wanted to use a rearmory front and haven't seen a chronomag using slanted talons before. It had to be cut down a bit to avoid collisions with the plunger tube, and it's glued in place with epoxy sculpt and hot glue. The handle guard and jam doors are from rearmory too, and the pusher is resin printed. That's pretty surprising. In my experience, resin's pretty brittle. Maybe they're making stronger stuff these days. For the illumination, I used a bunch of LEDs, sanded and painted acrylic glass, and a rechargeable battery. The lettering is laser cut and painted acrylic glass as well, apparently. He used a mix of Montana Gold spray paints, airbrush, and a light wash on the handle to add my favourite colour scheme and UV effect. In general, I prefer to use these kind of game realistic paint jobs and look a little sci-fi and somewhere between colourful and real steel, which is probably a good idea. Also helps keep you safe. Yes, very nice. And as you can see from the photos, he's got UV effects and LEDs all over the thing. Really, really well done, very nicely finished. You know, even little things like the hexagonal paint pattern on the slide there mirrors the seven little dots at the front. Yeah. And even the vertical stripes, the way they're spaced, that gives a visual acceleration. And it's painted red, so it's a red blaster. It must go faster, right? The detail on the pistol grip is really nice. It looks like leather. I'm assuming that's pre-moulded in, but he's added a little, looks like a dog paw print. Very nicely done. Very, very nicely done. Next up, we have one from somebody with one of the best handles I've ever heard. Boots Meggy. And he says, here are some photos of two blasters that I built for an upcoming Humans vs. Zombie invitational game held at UMBC, which is being held at the end of April. Okay. Didn't know they had invitational games for humans and zombies. Anyway, the spectrum has been rewired for 2S lipos and has been updated with M2.0 motors. The blaster barrel is a 3D print that was designed, he believes, by Tungsten XE. And the blaster has a 3D printed kit to remove the stock front end. And a custom paint job, a really nice custom paint job, I have to admit. Very nicely weathered. Looks great. Still a lot of bright colours for safety, but yeah, it looks really, really good. And the other one is a hyperfire, which he's cut the complete end off, cut off the stock, which makes it into a pistol. And that's a pretty ballsy move, because there's not a lot of room up the front there in that hand grip to put all the batteries and wiring and everything, but he's managed to shoehorn it all in. Yeah, so he's managed to fit it all in with the 2S battery and actually get it working. And that's a great little automatic pistol. I mean, you put a 30, what is it, the biggest capacity magazine in there. I mean, you can even a 50 round drum, I suppose. Yeah, and I do really like the paint job, and the weathering's really, really nice. He's done a really good job on that. And of course, all the orange for safety. Yeah, very impressive stuff. Very impressive. Okay, back again we have a regular, Jeremy Z, and this one's really, really nice. Dart Zone Adventure Force Spectrum, and integrated with a Nerf Raptor strike butt on it. The Spectrum also has some internal upgrades that include cage and flywheels from the Derezed kit offered from Drac at Foam Pro Shop. And it's running 2S lipos on Fang revamps. And this is really, really interesting. The standard Adventure Force Spectrum it came out a couple of years ago. Everybody's been raving about it being a replacement for the Strife. And it seems to be, it's apparently, according to some, it's like a modded blaster straight out of the box. This thing is really well done, this integration. Jeremy always does a good job. The paint job's impeccable. And I even noticed that he's changed the front end a bit of the blaster a bit. If you look at the actual blaster out of the box, it's a bit chunky up the front there. And he's just added a few things, one of which looks like the lower front foregrip from a Raptor strike, just to give it a bit more angular look. And really, really nicely done. Here's a shot of it on the workbench, and it looks like he's got a sponsorship deal with Out of Darts. But as you can see, mostly the orange body there, but there's a couple of different colours of orange, so hence my suspicions about that four-piece. Yeah, and I just can't fault this. It is so nicely well done. Compact, magazine storage in the butt, and it looks like a comfortable little close combat weapon. You can have it in your primary or your secondary, just hanging on a quick access sling. Yes, I'm impressed. I'm definitely going to hunt myself up an Adventure Force Spectrum. Okay, this next one's by Adam R. He says it's a build he did quite a while back and he no longer has it. But these are a few pictures he took. It's at first glance it just looks like a Vulcan, but then you really look at it and yes, it's the Vulcan call, but he's got a long shot buttstock on it and an underslung shell strike with a shell holder on the far side. So it's a pretty interesting little mod there. Looks really good. It hasn't given me a lot of information here. It just says this is a build I did a while back. It has a 75 dart belt with a PWM to adjust the rate of fire. Yeah, it was just surprising until I really looked at the photo. I just thought, oh, it's a blue and silver Vulcan. But he's done some really nice work there. The photos I don't think do it justice. You can't get up and see really close. Yeah, pretty cool. Now this next one up is sort of close to my heart. You may have seen my work on my modding of a double strike. And this is by Chuck's Projects. And if you search for that, Chuck's Projects on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, you'll find information from him. He's done a very nice, clean, simple little upgrade of a double strike. The 3D printed parts, making it look very much like an old-fashioned revolver. The barrel's very long, so I'm assuming if he has a push rod to push darts in to seat properly. I could see even 3D printing a speed reloader, much like revolvers have these days. Just holds 2 rounds vertically. But it is really, really nicely done. The colour scheme's really good. He's kept the actual original shape of the pistol grip, which I've always found a little bit small for me. But if you watch my video about making that pistol grip, it was a nightmare, so I can understand why a lot of people don't go that far. Other than that, it's really good. I love the cylinder look on the side. I'm assuming he's either glued that on or made it so it clips into that little orange recess. It just really improves the look of the blaster. I've always felt the double strike by itself, just out of the box, looks absurd. But yeah, very, very nice. And I'm assuming it still fires. It probably does. Doesn't look like he's done any internal mods to it. But as I said, Yeah, he really hasn't given me any information about the build, so I'm just making assumptions here. But it does look good. And lastly, this final piece of magnificence is from Bubba Yeager. And this man is my new god. This thing is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. There is just genius from start to finish. The shape, the integration. It's a Centurion and Thunderbow modded together along with Strife internals. He has just done such a fantastic job of the integration, and the paint job just leaves me my mouth watering. I am going to use the photos of this thing for inspiration on my next build. This is just amazing work. The build details for this are, it's called the Human Deterrent Device, Riot Special. And you could take that as meaning it's used by an alien race maybe. Who knows? Centurion Thunderbow integration with Strife internals. The Thunderbow is mounted upside down and is triggerless slam fire only. 4 of the 5 mega barrels with smart AR. The 5th one at the top is an elite barrel. It has a radar side magwell. A simple LED BT program display is at the side and modelled after the Stampede window on one side. The stock internals with Thingiverse Auto Kit yet to be upgraded. And he has the audacity to say, this is my first paint job from start to finish. Well, if it's your first, I'm really envious because it's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. I love it from top to bottom. He's done a much better job weathering than I have been able to do. Even the build photos, you can see just how well the integration's going. It's so smooth and so nice. But yeah, this is really nice. I'm going to use photos of this for my next build just to get the weathering right. And even in his build photos, you can see there's a few of his extra pieces he's done around the place. But yeah, this is just absolutely gorgeous. And we'll end there. That'll be a high note. And anybody else has sent things in, not featured in either the main movie or the slideshow, it'll be in the next one. Don't worry, this movie's just getting a bit too long. So I'll sign off for now.